And we are live.
Hello everyone, it's Will Middleton and Chris Badgett from LifterLMS. We're going to be live here for the next hour answering any questions you have about LifterLMS, pre-sales, getting started. We can share our screens, we can talk through any product demos. We're here as a resource for you for the next hour to answer any questions we see from the community. We're going to be going through the last week of some questions we've received on YouTube, in our help inbox, and Facebook. But for anyone who's joining us live, let us know in the chat where you're calling in from and let us know if you have any questions. We're going to make sure to prioritize questions for people who made the time to join us live. But yeah, we'll kick it off. How you doing this week, Chris?
I'm doing awesome. Just pushing a lot of projects forward, working on the LifterLMS website, having a lot of fun, doing good.
Nice. I'm pulling up some YouTube comments to see if we had any good questions we could dive into from the last week. And while I do that, are there any big topics? I know you do a lot of work with the LifterLMS pre-sales line now. Are there any big questions you've seen this week as kind of a trend or anything you want to make sure we highlight?
Well, one thing that's new is we actually just sent an email yesterday to our users and customers asking for showcase submissions, and we got 25. And they're already live on the site, and it's really cool. I'll put a link in the chat to where that is. But that is, it's just really neat to see the different ways that people are using LifterLMS and all the different ways you can do design, just totally different branding, different niches, from continuing education, training to coaching to parenting advice to religious studies. There's just so much cool stuff happening over there. So it's a great resource for folks to check out.
Awesome. And yeah, so that LifterLMS showcase page is a great place. I think it's lifterlms.com/showcase, where you can go see what other LifterLMS users are building. You can see the front end of their websites, and some of them even have free courses on them where you could enroll and see kind of what end users are doing. We also have academy.lifterlms.com, where you can see a demo of what LifterLMS looks like on the inside. There's courses on there about how to use LifterLMS in LifterLMS. You can see all the styling and some good stuff there. So academy.lifterlms.com. But let us know for anyone joining us live in the chat if you have any questions. The first question I found on the YouTube channel, pull it up on screen, is, hello, I really need your help. I have a blog site that I need to post some tutorials on. All courses are free and there's no registration or enrollment required. Must study courses as a visitor or guest. The continue button is invisible. Even if I change it to enrollment visible from the block section, it doesn't work. Even if I link the lesson myself, Mark Complete disappears. So I think with this question, all courses are free and no registration is required. So the Mark Complete button is not going to show up for any users when they're not enrolled in the course. Even if they can view the lesson, if it's a free lesson, they won't see that Mark Complete button. So probably what's going on there is, if the continue button and Mark Complete buttons are not visible, it's probably because the users are not enrolled in the course. Even if you make them visible to everyone on the back end in the LifterLMS block settings, you can make them visible to everybody. Even though it says visible everyone, the blocks themselves, those buttons, have some rules in place that make it so they won't show up unless you're enrolled, even if it says visible to everyone. So I think that's probably what's going on there.
I can do a quick demo of that, Will.
Yeah, for sure.
I got a site up here, and I'm going to the course catalog. And you can see when I jump into this course, which I'm enrolled in, I'm just jumping into a lesson here. You can see the progress bar is up here and the Mark Complete button is here. But LifterLMS has a feature on lessons where you can make them free, not requiring enrollment. So that's right here. It's in a couple places actually, but it's right here, and I'll show you in a second where it is on the course builder. So if I update that and I view this lesson on the front end of the website, can you see my new screen? Did it open a new tab? Is that still visible?
I can only see the back end under courses lessons.
Oh, let me do it a different way then. I'm just gonna go. Let me just copy that link and open it in this tab. So you can see I am enrolled in this course, so there is a mark complete button here. But if I was viewing as a visitor, it's still showing up there. Let me switch screens so I can get an incognito window going. Excuse me while I navigate the StreamYard here. So
No problem.
Can I show like all my screens, or do I have to
Yeah, there should be entire screen when you do
oh, entire screen. There we go. That'll do it. Perfect. So sorry for the infinity there. So I'm just opening a new incognito window here, and I'm going to this lesson. And because that lesson is free, you can see it's marked as free. There's no mark complete button. So, and if I jump back out to the course level, you can see where this is a free lesson, not requiring enrollment. But in order for the mark complete button to show up, it does need to be there. You need to be enrolled in the course, and the mark complete button block needs to be there as well. So just wanted to put that out there. Progress tracking and the mark complete progression function and all that does require a user to be enrolled. Now, if you make all your lessons free, they can just navigate through all the content, but it's not doing progression tracking. If you want that, then you do need to create a free access plan to make that happen.
Cool. And thanks for that demo, Chris. That was good. We had Scott McKenzie in chat. I'm having difficulty with my logon fields being blacked out. I don't know how to correct. I've never heard of that kind of issue before. I wonder if you could share a link in chat. And probably, I mean, just from what you said there, blacked out, probably some CSS to make like the background a certain color or something. Usually with LifterLMS and a default theme like Lifter Sky Pilot, Cadence, Astra, it works well out of the box, but it's got like a light background usually, and then dark text, but you could invert that or do like a light mode, dark mode. But I assume that's what's going on, but we could take a look. And when I attempt to log in, I'm not seeing my login access. But yeah, if you want to send a link for that, we could take a look. I'm going through the Facebook groups now to see if we had any questions. That was all the questions, just the one from the YouTube in the last week. And then I've got a couple other questions on hand in case. One of them was how to collect and display reviews in your LMS. So we could definitely do a demo of that. If I pull up my screen here, I'll just type that one in chat real quick. Then how to collect and post reviews.
And I'll just say while Will's typing there that there's a couple different ways to do reviews. LifterLMS has a built-in native review system, but I also see people using form plugins, and some of them actually have like a review post type, and they can submit the form and the review displays on the front of the website. So whatever you're imagining that you want for reviews, it's totally possible with native LifterLMS, or getting creative with a form plugin, or even a plugin like Gravity View.
Yeah, for sure. I'll talk about just the basic LifterLMS option there. But like Chris said, you could use forms, Gravity Forms, WS Forms, all kinds of forms tools to collect and display the reviews. Especially with like Gravity View, you could automatically display them. But what LifterLMS has built in out of the box is under courses, you might see this review section all the way at the bottom. You could manually add a review. If you're an admin of the website, you could just copy and paste something a user may have said on Google or somewhere else on the internet. But you can also go to courses and edit any of your courses or memberships. I think this applies to memberships too. Actually, might not. Probably only applies to courses there. But then under courses, if we scroll down pretty far to this course options area, we have a reviews tab, and we can click to enable reviews. We can click to display reviews, and we can also prevent a user from submitting multiple reviews. So this is going to only allow people who are enrolled in the course to leave a review. If I go ahead and update that, make sure Arthur Wells is enrolled in the course. I'm logged in here as Arthur Wells. So I need to, yep, Arthur Wells is enrolled. So if I view the course and scroll down, we should have the opportunity to leave a review. Since I'm enrolled in the course, I have the opportunity to leave a review here, and that's going to show up under courses reviews. And then I could also toggle this option to display reviews automatically. This can be a little bit dangerous if you're worried about some of the feedback people would leave for your course, but if you're ready to be open and honest with the internet, whatever your students end up leaving as a review for the course, you want it to automatically display. Just check that box and that will automatically display. There's currently not a star rating system for reviews. It's more of like a comment or testimonial feedback style. But those can automatically display with just LifterLMS out of the box. And it looks like from Scott in chat, we had the link put in. Let me see. Can I copy this?
Before we move on, I just want to say, we just published a new page on our site. If you wouldn't mind leaving LifterLMS a review, if you're a free user or customer on here, there's 4 places to leave a review for LifterLMS. There's WordPress.org, there's G2 Crowd, there's Trustpilot, and there's Capterra. We really appreciate it. It inspires the team. It gives us some good feedback of what people are liking about the product. So if you have a few moments, head on over to lifterlms.com/rate-and-review. And there's direct links to the 4 review sites. So while on the topic of reviews, I just wanted to throw that out there. We also appreciate a review at LifterLMS. And wherever you're watching this on social media, smash that like button, subscribe, drop a comment. We love engaging with our audience. But yeah, let's go help Scott.
Yeah, and let us know if you want to see more of this kind of content in the future. And by your questions coming in and comments and positive feedback here, it encourages us to keep going in with more of these live streams and more good stuff. So here on the website, I'm seeing like I gotta find the original question. So if I go back to, here we go. With my login fields being blacked out. Okay, so here maybe, oh, here we go. So we got login fields that are blacked out. This is probably CSS because I could type it here. It will, so yeah. So I can type in here. It's just black on black. So it's like CSS making the background of the field here black, and then the text on the page is also black. So it just makes it kind of look invisible. So probably some CSS that's going to be like a theme thing, or under additional CSS in the backend. It heavily determined based on the theme you're using.
I think that's the Astra theme. And I think in Astra, there is a dark mode setting that you might have selected that could possibly be doing something like that. I'm just guessing, but maybe check out Astra, see if there's some customization setting in there where you selected dark mode, because that could be it.
Yeah, let's see if we can. This page has a lot of code on it. Plugin WooCommerce theme. You do have a is dark theme. WP block library. I was just trying to see if I could identify which theme was on here for sure for them. BB theme, maybe. Ninja BB plugin. No, that's not it. I think theme BB theme might be what they're using. I'm not sure. BB, is that like Buddy Boss? Oh, he might be. It doesn't look like the Buddy Boss checkout though. But yeah, check in with your theme settings there under customize appearance, additional CSS in the back end of WordPress under appearance themes. You'll be able to find it much faster. I could keep digging around in the code and figure out what it is, but probably a theme setting or some CSS inside of your theme there.
Scott also said this is way above his capabilities, and feel free to also just submit a ticket to LifterLMS support. So just go to lifterlms.com into your account, and there's a link for support, and the team can help you there. I'm sure they can isolate what that is and help get that resolved. So one of the benefits of being a paid customer of LifterLMS is access to the support team, and if they have to log into your site to find out what's going on, they'll do that. So go ahead and push that through.
Nice. Absolutely. So help at lifterlms.com. And if you have a license, they'll see that, or inside of your account is probably a better place, because then you could submit your temporary admin username and password for the Lifter team to log in and take a look at what's going on there. Pulling over a question now from Facebook. I want to make sure I format it properly in the chat. Copy and paste. It's kind of a longer question. I might break it up into 2 parts. Let's submit that. Pull that up on screen and then submit the second part. Okay, cool. So this is a question from the LifterLMS Facebook group. Thanks for welcoming. I'm new to Lifter, but I want to know some pre-sales questions. I have 2 companies for IT and trading courses. I want to sell a membership. In the membership, I want to make groups. So in every group, there will be courses that have topics, chapters, and lessons. Yeah, and then we have, so when someone purchases a membership, all the courses included will be assigned to the person. Okay, so that makes sense. So in LifterLMS, from this high level, you can have a membership that enrolls a user into many courses. So if I go to memberships on the back end of my demo site, I have an Academy membership already set up as an example, but all of your memberships in LifterLMS have this feature where...
And I think what this person is asking too, they're using the word groups to refer to what we do have a groups add-on you can purchase for managing group enrollments. But in this case, where it's just another word for memberships, i.e. creating a group of courses into a bundle.
Yeah. Yeah, I've some membership in the membership. I want to make groups. Every group, there will be some courses. Yeah, so it might also be category too. Like if you have different memberships for different categories. I'm not sure what exactly they're referring to there, but if you do mean group per membership, you could do that as well. So each, I don't know if we have like, it was about IT and trading courses. So if you have like an IT membership and a trading membership as 2 memberships on your website, you could have a bunch of courses in each of those memberships. And then the LifterLMS membership feature has auto enrollment as an option. So you can add courses. And currently this membership, the Academy one on my demo site, has like 15 or 20 courses that you get enrolled into automatically when you enroll into the membership. So it does that last functionality you want, where you want to sell a bunch of those as like a package. And then the idea of, so you've got the membership and we're selling the membership with the style setup, and you could call them groups if you wanted to change the name of memberships to groups for whatever your purpose is. But like Chris said, there is a LifterLMS groups add-on that it doesn't sound like you would use in this case, but it allows you to sell to organizations and give them some front-end reporting.
Yeah, and the topics and chapters and lessons, that's just the course builder stuff. Like we call them sections. So the hierarchy is basically course, and then inside of courses are sections, inside of sections are lessons. Lessons can have quizzes and assignments attached to them and all kinds of multimedia content. And then if you need to group courses together, that's a perfect use for memberships. And course categories are also helpful in terms of if you have a lot of courses on your site, making it easy for people to see the ones that are similar based on category. And then you can bundle all those courses in a category to a specific membership if you want to.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of ways to break it down. So it sounds like you've got your lessons, and then your chapters would be your sections, and then the topic might be the course. It seems like the way to do it. Or you could do it is a course, and the course has topics, which are sections. The chapters are lessons, and then what you're referring to as a lesson might be like tabs within a lesson or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways you could think about it and break it down inside of Lifter for that setup. We have Kurt in chat. I downloaded Facebook on my phone to see you guys. Awesome.
I hope the drive is going well, Kurt.
I wonder, I'm going to switch up the music here in the background. Awesome. So going through the Facebook group, keep scrolling down, try to find another question here. Is it possible to sync LifterLMS groups as I use it with companies with what Fluent CRM calls companies? So I guess Fluent CRM is a tool that works with LifterLMS. They have an integration they've developed that allows you to put people into your email systems in Fluent CRM and give them tags and properties based on actions that they have done inside of LifterLMS, like enrolling in a course and completing lessons and things like that. And so you can kind of communicate back and forth with your CRM. If you're using Fluent CRM and the Fluent CRM LifterLMS integration that they've developed, you can have that kind of communicate with the LMS. So you can send people emails and tag them based on their activity within your LMS system. And so this question is about that integration. Is it possible to sync LifterLMS groups with Fluent CRM companies? I haven't used Lifter groups with Fluent CRM before, but it looks like with what Kurt put actually in the Facebook group earlier this week is that you might need to use WP Fusion for that. WP Fusion allows you to take your integration with email tools like Fluent CRM or ActiveCampaign or MailChimp. It allows you to take them to the next level because there's so many more automations that you're able to build into your system when you use WP Fusion to integrate with your CRM, like tagging people based on whether they passed or failed a quiz and all kinds of other intricate things you might want to do, including, and I'd have to verify this for sure, but you can definitely tag people when they enroll in a group in WP Fusion can see that they enrolled in a group and then apply a tag to them in your CRM. So I assume applying a tag in the CRM can integrate with Fluent CRM's company's feature in order to bring that across the finish line. So I think that solution would probably work for you.
I got another question here. I'm just adding. Are we good to transition to another one, or?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is a question we get from time to time. Do you offer a nonprofit discount? And we do work with charities and nonprofits or folks that are in a tight spot financially for what we call a partial scholarship. So you just go to LifterLMS.com. Let me make sure I've got the right link there. And we have a scholarship request form for a partial scholarship. That's LifterLMS.com/scholarship-request. So if that's you, feel free to reach out, and I'll put a link to that in the chat. So look for that in the comments down below.
Awesome. And then if I pull this one in as well. And there we go. So this is a little bit of a longer question. Oh, here's the LifterLMS scholarship request, LifterLMS.com/scholarship-request. And our next question is, I want to create a course that's free for kids. The idea is that they get points as they take the course, and the points can be used to feed and interact with a virtual pet. Wow. I don't have the skill set to produce the game aspect, but thinking about hiring a freelance developer would this easily integrate with LifterLMS? And if so, would a Python-based game integrate as well? Easy is kind of the word that obfuscates the question a little bit. Like, what's your definition of easy? So like with LifterLMS, you can integrate with GamiPress out of the box. That's a wonderful way to create a points style setup where, based on triggers that happen within the course, like completing a lesson, completing a quiz, passing a quiz, things like that, you can give the user, the WordPress user, points that you decide. You could name these point types anything you want. And if we have some extra time, we could demo how you could do this kind of setup, because it's interesting if others are interested with creating a GamiPress LifterLMS integration, because you decide in GamiPress what your points are going to be called. You could call them like lifter points. You could create multiple points. You could call your points food, and then people collect food as they go through the course. You could get really creative with it. And so they basically collect these points for completing the lessons and passing the quiz, which is definitely doable out of the box without any custom code with LifterLMS and GamiPress. But then there's the second aspect to the question, which is integrating with a Python-based game to feed a pet. So I assume that this pet and the feeding process is all managed by the Python application or the game. And so I think LifterLMS has I guess you're not even using the LifterLMS API. The WordPress has a default API you could use to mess with user meta fields. And so I'm just kind of thinking through this in my head. You'd have to use the WordPress REST API in order to, and I could also look up if GamiPress has a REST API. But you basically want to tap into the points that the users have accrued through their LifterLMS course, and then pull that data into your Python application, and then send post requests from your application to the WordPress. GamiPress does have a REST API. So I'll pull it up on screen just for 1 second. And
just putting it out there while you're pulling that up, Will, there is a second solution called MyCred, which I'll link up, which also does points based on lesson completions and quiz passing and stuff like that.
Awesome. And I'm pulling up MyCred's API too. You can see. And
I think MyCred might have a free plugin. It could be, the integration might be free. I can't remember 100%. Yeah, it looks like it's a free download.
Nice.
But you might need a paid version of the MyCred core or something like that. But you'll have to look into that one.
Nice. Let me know if my connection gets too bad too. I can join from my phone. StreamYard's giving me a warning. But so with the API, so it supports the WordPress API, and I'm just wondering if we can tap into user points, because you can tap into points types. So this is where you need to talk with a developer a little bit about, and they do some research on this API to figure out if what you can do is possible. I think what you can do is possible, but I don't have the time to flesh it out completely in this call, but probably something like GamiPress user earnings is what you would use to find out, if Will's taking your course and I'm accruing a bunch of food points on my user profile. This is probably the endpoint you'd use to figure out how many food points Will has for the Python application, and then the Python application would receive the number that Will has, and then it would act accordingly. If Will has no food points for the day, it'll tell them that his pet is starving and that he needs to go take more courses in order to get more food. So the Python application would respond with whatever it was planning to respond with based on the number of food points that Will would have accumulated. So it looks like that's possible. MyCred REST API looks like it might be a paid. They might have monetized the API. But here, can you gamification API plugin? Okay, so a gamification API plugin allows you to award, revoke, and receive points, because you also want to retrieve points from the user. Yeah, so it looks like you could do it either way. It looks like the MyCred API might be paid, but it looks like either way you could remove points from people. Once they use their food to feed the pet, you remove points, and then you can also retrieve the points and have your Python application respond accordingly. So that's a little bit of a deep dive into using LifterLMS and the API in a custom application. In this case, you're not using LifterLMS's REST API. LifterLMS does have a REST API that's pretty robust. So if you're a developer who knows PHP and APIs a little bit, you could build some custom applications into Lifter. So you could have a remote application, create courses in Lifter, create students in Lifter. If you have I heard this question earlier this week about a custom CRM. An organization has their own custom user management software instead of ActiveCampaign or MailChimp. They have their own custom system, and they wanted to integrate into Lifter. So when someone signs up on their platform, they get created in Lifter, and they use the REST API to do that. So Lifter has a robust REST API too, and you'd be using a REST API in this scenario, but not Lifter's directly. But there may be some opportunities to use Lifter's API there too.
I got another question here that we could probably jam out on with a couple different strategies.
Yeah.
We have someone asking how to speed up their website, and there's really a lot of different approaches. I'll lay a couple out there. One of them is just to have high quality hosting. Some of the fastest hosting, which are also not necessarily the cheapest, but you can get started at a reasonable cost, are like Presidium, Convesio. These are some really performant web hosting optimized for learning management systems with WordPress. And we actually have a list of the hosts we recommend over there. And you'll see Convesio and Presidium near the top of that list. So just having high quality hosting can literally 5 or 10x the speed of your website for pages to load and stuff like that. But I understand sometimes you need to get started at as cheap as possible. And you can of course start with shared hosting and get in really cheap and wait till your website starts making money. So there's not one way to do it, but just putting that out there, that the easiest and quickest and fastest speed up you're going to get is from good quality hosting. The other one is to just take a minimalist approach when it comes to all the stuff you put on your website, whether that's plugins or images. Like, you want to make sure you're not putting in like these crazy large images. I used to have a bad habit of that. I would take PNGs, screenshots, and put them on the site at like 4 megabytes or whatever it is. But really, you want to put a JPEG there. You don't need to use a PNG unless you're doing like a little transparent logo thing or something like that. But so small images, and the less is more. So like, if you don't need a million plugins, don't add a million plugins. And also the quality of your plugins that you choose matter. LifterLMS is great because we're built thinking about performance and scale from the ground up, whether you're doing one course or 1,000 courses. So when you select LifterLMS for your learning management system, you're selecting a company that has been around for 10 years, that knows a thing or two about scaling and making sure the website will continue to function. We just put a case study up on our website by Melissa Love, who just did a migration from, I believe it was MemberPress to LifterLMS for a 500,000 user site for one of the largest photography education sites in the world. We just published that case study a day or two ago. And that one, she's doing 500,000 users hitting the site. And so it can scale. You just got to have the right tech. And I'll put a link to that case study in the chat. But what other tips do you have, Will, on speed and performance and keeping a website fast and loading screens well?
Yeah, I think earlier this week too, I was doing the same thing on a website where there were a bunch of images that are slow to load, and they're only like 500 kilobytes or something, but it's still like, half a megabyte, and you want, ideally you'd be operating in this like 2 megabyte range of like, about 2 megabytes of data per page. And so if you were to throw a picture on there, like at least the 4 pictures that are 500 megabytes each, now you've already done your 2 megabytes worth of size in just 4 pictures. So making sure your images are as small as possible. I know at LifterLMS, our lead designer, Kim, emphasizes that a lot, about think about on the web page how wide this asset is likely to be. Is it going to be 600 pixels, 800 pixels, and can you make it, actually that wide? And when you export it from your Canva or Photoshop or whatever you're editing in, and then have it appropriately sized for the space that it's going to take up on the page, because you don't need it to be 1,200 pixels if it's not going to take up the whole width of the page, probably. But there's always considerations. Like I don't know, if all of your users are using like 40 or 27-inch computer monitors, then it's going to be much more high def for them. But usually sticking to about 1800 or 1200 as a standard for what pixels that you expect the page to be wide, and then appropriately designing your assets accordingly. I think when you're first starting out, it doesn't matter too much to speed up things in that way and put that much effort into speed. But then once you start to scale and you're wanting to focus on business problems of how do you go from 500 students to 1,000 students, then it's like you want to have some standards for how you're putting your assets together and spacing your assets and minimizing your assets before you upload them to the website. And then you can also use plugins like caching plugins on your homepage to speed things like your homepage up, because you're probably not going to have a lot of dynamic content loading on your homepage. LifterLMS and caching, and not just LifterLMS and caching, LMS plugins, WooCommerce and caching, like any kind of plugin that introduces dynamic features to your website has some complications with caching from time to time. So like with LifterLMS quizzes, it's like you don't want to cache all your lessons and courses because people view the course page and we want to say, okay, which of the lessons have they completed? Because we want to show like a blue check mark on all the lessons they completed. But then if your website's aggressively caching things, it's not going to communicate with the database as much, and it's going to make it so it looks like the student only completed 3 lessons. The student knows they completed 5 lessons, but then they have to wait 24 hours for the cache to refresh. So using caching mechanisms on your home page and your static pages and your blog pages is a smart move to make your marketing side of things faster and performant for Google and for your customers loading and everything. But then you want to be more careful and make sure to exclude the LifterLMS purchase page. If you're using WooCommerce, you don't want the WooCommerce purchase page to be cached, the WooCommerce My Account page, the LifterLMS My Account page. You want to exclude these pages that serve dynamic content and serve as logins from caching. If you can, like a lot of caching tools have exclusion areas where you can type certain URLs that you do not want to be cached into those places. So just kind of a few high level considerations there to try to shoot for that 2 megabytes. And if you do insist on putting like massive photos on your web page, there's another thing you could institute called lazy loading, where it only loads the part of the web page that the user's looking at. So if you have let's say you have a 5 megabyte web page and we're trying to go for 2, you can opt with lazy loading to only load the first part of the page that's only going to load in the first few images, and then as the user scrolls down, it's going to load in more data. So there's some performance stuff you can think about there, but I think when you're first starting out, just focusing on getting students enrolled is the thing to do. But then once you start to scale, as a few of my customers had highlighted this week, it's like we got to start thinking about speeding things up.
Awesome. Pro tips right there. We have another question here. I want to know how to make a sticky menu navigation on the Skypilot theme using CSS code, because I searched for the ID or the class, but I found only the block. And for those of you watching or listening that don't know what a sticky menu is, it's just where the bar that has your menu items on it, the header of the website, kind of sticks even after someone starts scrolling down the page. So I don't believe that's a feature in our Skypilot theme out of the box, which is the most modern, exclusively focused on WordPress LMS theme in existence. So I'll put a link to Skypilot in the chat. I don't know if you have any quick tips here, Will, for how to make a sticky header menu if a theme doesn't have an option for that out of the box. But I'll also mention there are customization experts out there that can help you. If you go to lifterlms.com/experts, and if you need to hire somebody to do that, to do like a customization beyond the scope of what your plugins and your themes offer, that option is always available. But any tips? Will's more of a developer than me, much more. So I'm curious if you have any tips on actually helping them implement it.
Yeah, I guess in the background here, I just want to test something. And as the developer mind says, like, oh, maybe this would work, maybe this would work. The first thing I want to try an easy method first is to see like if one of those plugins that just takes the head tag and sticks it might work, because there's some free plugins on the WordPress repo, and I haven't tested any of these plugins, so it's not really a specific endorsement, but usually they're like the only thing they're doing is targeting the head tags and then applying some sticky CSS to it. So there might be some kind of stick header plugin. I mean, I've seen these plugins before, but this,
I didn't even know those existed. That's cool. So it's literally a plugin to solve this exact issue, no matter if your theme doesn't do it.
Yeah, and so theoretically, I don't know that this is going to work, but we're going in kind of tentatively to say like, hey, this might work, sticky menu or anything, because theoretically this should work. I don't want that thing right now. Let's just go back. Okay, so here we go. So sticky element required. So it's gonna, I guess we can try to do this, because I did also get some CSS code from ChatGPT in the background of some simple stuff to just stick. And then this person wants to use CSS, so I could show that as well. But let's just see if we can go to the header real quick. Where's my header in Skypilot? Templates. Oh, template parts. Yeah. So I need to go to navigation patterns. There we go. Headers. So this is my header. Can I edit this header? Oh, I'm the wrong place. There we go. So if I go to edit my header, and then this is all in a group. So can I apply a class to this group, because this plugin wants you to put a little CSS class ID here. So we need to, looking for other settings, they've moved to the styles tab. Okay. I'm not seeing the stick option, because I know the group block, I could go into the group block options and add CSS here, but I don't want to apply this to the whole website because I don't want all my groups to be sticky. So I'm just trying to see, can I maybe make this a pattern? If I create the template part, the header template part, Bill's header. Great. And sometimes this kind of thing requires a little bit of experimenting to get it right. So now I've got my Will's header block. And so now that I have Will's header block, I can put a class on here called sticky item. Save. And then if we go back to my website and reload, nothing should change, but then we put that here. Let's see if this works. This might not work, but we'll give it a try. There we go. Okay, so we have a problem that there's no background color there, but let's see what happens if I go to Will's header block, and then in this group, I put a background color of white. Save. And then we go back over here and reload. So we should have a white background color now. Okay, there we go. So now we got. So with the plugin there, it looks like you can you'd have to install that free plugin. You could create your class and then put that class on your pattern. And then with the CSS method, it should be almost the same. I don't know if we. I'm trying to think of like Will's header. We can't put in CSS code here, but if you had like a child theme, or I don't want to mess with the theme file editor. Yeah, so that's probably the best option out of the box, because this plugin's only putting CSS on your site. But let me see if I can show you at least what the CSS would probably look like if you did insist on going the CSS route. I'll just paste it on a page. It's in my clipboard right now, but yeah, so if we paste it here, nope, I copied something else. But yeah, I was at chatopenai.com and I was just like, write me some CSS to make something stick. And so if I go sticky CSS.
And Kurt's watching from the road. Kurt, I want to encourage you to keep your eyes on the road, but because he is saying that Shazam, fun to watch Will Middleton work. I do want to mention that Will does have his own agency, wpcourseguide.com. I put a link to his contact page on there. So if you're looking to hire somebody like Will, he's awesome. And we also have all the other LifterLMS experts over on lifterlms.com/experts. But if you're looking to do it yourself, watching how Will thinks when he solved that problem. Oh, is there a free plugin for that? Oh, can ChatGPT just write the code for me? This is how this is what makes WordPress and open source software awesome, because you can extend it, and there's these great community of people and products around the project that can help you fulfill your goals. So James jumped in. He said he would be earlier, but he was on a call. So he's liking SkyPilot, by the way. That's our theme that Will was just working with. It's designed specifically for e-learning and LifterLMS. So he wants to customize backgrounds and look and feel on SkyPilot. And this is totally possible. You just have to learn how to drive full site editing and work with groups and backgrounds. Are we doing image backgrounds? Are we doing colors? Are we doing gradients? What are we doing? WordPress and full site editing makes it possible for you to enhance a theme without being a developer. But it's taken me like many years to like really learn how to drive what's now called full site editing. I don't know if you want to do a demo, Will, of just some best practices of like working with backgrounds and the design parts of pages or templates with full site editing to kind of get the juices flowing.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw James put in chat. I plan to do a lot of the site myself, and perhaps Will to do this for me at the time. Nice. How do I get in touch with Will? Oh yeah, there's the what Chris put in chat there. wpcourseguide.com/contact. This is my main contact page. But yeah, so for customizing backgrounds and just getting a feel for SkyPilot, did I minimize my? Oh no, it's just over here. So yeah, so in the back end of my WordPress site, when you're using LifterLMS SkyPilot, it looks a little bit different than Cadence or Astra, some classic editors that you might be used to, where you go to Appearance Customize and you find all of your theme settings, how you can edit your headers, your footers, your sidebars, and all those settings. We're under something called Appearance Customize. And now with what's called the Full Site Editing Framework, which is what we're looking at right now, it's where you basically use blocks on everything. You use blocks for your header, blocks for your footer, blocks for your navigation menu. It's the direction WordPress is going, and LifterLMS SkyPilot is one of the I want to call it one of the premier themes. Like I think it's definitely a premier theme in the space with this full site editor instead of the customizer layout. And so if we want to edit our navigation menus, for example, we have, this is like a header navigation where I have about, blog, courses, and things like that. I could navigate into my navigation area in the full site editor, and then these are blocks where I can remove the blocks, add more blocks, duplicate my blocks. And there's blocks that are specific to navigation items. So these are just basically page links. You can have a page link anywhere you want on your website, but navigation blocks are composed primarily of page links, and then they can be kind of nested within each other for child page setups. But then if you want to talk a little bit more about like backgrounds and things like that, that's where you would go to your templates area. And so if maybe we wanted to talk about designing a course template because you're using LifterLMS, you might want to design a single course layout a little bit differently than what comes out of the box, or you might want to customize it a bit. So here we can see out of the box what LifterLMS is giving you for a course layout in SkyPilot. And if I zoom out a little bit, it might make it a little more clear. We can see we have the header up here at the top. This is purple. It's the one Will's header that I was just working on and made sticky. And then we have our content area for our course template, and then our footer area. So when WordPress talks about templates and template parts, basically it means that this template we're looking at is going to apply to any post types in WordPress that are using the single course template. And by default, all the LifterLMS courses are using that template. We've had some questions come in where we say, I want some of my courses to have one layout and other courses to have a different layout. And that's where you would have two templates. And we can see the default template is going to probably switch over. There it goes to single course. So all of your courses are going to use this layout out of the box. So if you want to change what all of your courses look like, if you say, I don't want a sidebar in any of my courses, what you could do is go to the course template in the full site editor, find that this is the column with the featured image and the progress and the syllabus over here on the right, the second column. And then I could just delete this column, and that will remove the sidebar from my courses on my website. It'll just be gone. It'll be missing there. So if I wanted to fix that, I would need to change the width of my remaining column back to 100%, because it was at 66%, 33%. If I want to remove it, I'm going to have to change this column back to 100% to take up the full width of the page. And you could have two sidebars. You say, I want a right and a left sidebar. You could do that as well with that template system. But that's just a high level about how these templates work. And of course, this is like a group block. So if you wanted the background of this group block to be like a light gray color, you could do that to customize your website to be a little more on brand with your brand colors. You could integrate some of this stuff inside of your template to make the website match the look and feel of your business. Perfect. Chris, I think you're muted.
Yes, I am. Thank you. I'm back. I was muting to cough and I forgot to come back. And I put a link in the chat below where Will did a great long tutorial on SkyPilot, full demo and full site editing and all that. So if you're interested in SkyPilot, go ahead and check that out. And if you're just SkyPilot curious, I just want to say that we do have our $1 demo sites you can get. So it's a temporary website, just like the ones that we're using to do demonstrations for you today. So you can try it out before investing in the software. And if you do invest in the software, we also have a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. So if you're just not sure and you just want to try it, there's really no risk on your end to getting the SkyPilot theme, which is also included in the Universe bundle. So you can get it by itself or get it inside of the Universe bundle. And I'll put a link to our pricing page in the chat if you're looking to explore the various add-ons and what's in the different bundles.
Absolutely. And if I pull up my screen again here, the LifterLMS.com/try is where you can get a demo site just like the one that I'm like tearing apart over here in the demo. You can get a site that's just like it if you wanted to try out LifterLMS. And I think I'm on the template expert because I think you get like 3 options. Yeah, so you could do the this is the demo site I'm working with is template expert, but there's some other examples that are formulated for businesses or for schools if you wanted to see a little more of a specific use case. This is like if you're an entrepreneur with an expertise in a certain subject matter, this website's laid out a little bit in a way that's tailored to what your business is probably trying to do. But for like a business that's selling internal training or selling to they're not selling internal training, they're trying to train their employees or train their customers, you probably want to lay out your website more like this. And then for schools, they have a different idea of how they want to organize the content.
That's awesome. I had to check to make sure I wasn't muted again. I'm here. So we've just got about 5 more minutes left. If you're watching this wherever you are, if you have a question you want to ask, go ahead and just post it. We can see it in our simulcasting StreamYard software that we're using. We're happy to help. But yeah, I'm excited. We've covered a lot of ground today, and you can really see how flexible WordPress is, LifterLMS, what makes this situation awesome, whether it's your first time into WordPress or you're an experienced WordPress person or you're a developer. Everybody can get value out of this community, and choosing WordPress and LifterLMS to power your learning platform. So, and I think you can also tell from what we're talking about here that we really value helping people. We're known for having some of the best support in the industry. We don't look at supporting our users and our customers as a cost center to be minimized in business. We actually see it as a feature of the product. So we really value that support experience. So I will be cheeky one more time and ask for a rating and a review. So I'll put that link in the chat. If you're here or watching this later on the replay, we're here usually the same time every week. Right after this call, like an hour from now, we do the LifterLMS Office Hours Mastermind, which is a more intimate kind of Zoom group call we do for our Infinity Bundle and Universe Bundle customers. And inside of that call, we can dive deeper into your tech questions or strategy questions. And also it gives you a good opportunity to connect to other users that are building similar projects to what you're trying to do, so we can learn together. We've been running that call for about 5 years now, and it's super valuable. It's one of the big benefits of becoming a Universe Bundle or Infinity Bundle customer. So anything else you want to get into, Will, for our last bit here?
I don't think so. I'm just going through my head, thinking through the week, I guess we could talk a little at a high level. We got into a lot of technical specifics on this call about how do you make your header sticky, how would you customize your backgrounds, how would you use an API to integrate with a custom application for feeding a pet based on completing LifterLMS courses, a virtual pet. So that like at a high level, LifterLMS allows you to create courses and memberships inside of WordPress. It introduces features like the course post type, lesson post type, quiz post types. It introduces features around enrollment restrictions and a paywall kind of feature, so you can have content that's not available to the public, not able to be found on Google. It's only available to those who purchase the content and enroll in the course. And the ecosystem goes extremely deep in, in creating very custom setups tailored to whatever your business vision is. But at a very high level, that's what LifterLMS introduces for learning and membership features. And there's James in the chat, who's a community member who runs Honors WP, and they've built some new exciting LifterLMS add-ons recently as well.
Yeah, well, I just want to mention James's transfer add-on. We do get a lot of people switching from other tools. Like I mentioned, Melissa Love earlier helped somebody transition off MemberPress to do a scaled out LMS with LifterLMS for 500,000 users. James and his team at Honors WP have built a product called Transfer, which we'll link up in a second, but it makes it super easy and fast to transfer if you're using LearnDash over to LifterLMS, and it can go the other way too. But if you're watching this and you're using LearnDash and you've been using it for a while and you want to just move everything over to LifterLMS and move forward on the LifterLMS rocket ship, Transfer is a great product for that. So we did a webinar on that as well. I'll get both those resources in the chat here in just a second.
Awesome. And yeah, Honors WP they have some good stuff rolling out. They have like a messaging plugin too that I think also works with Lifter, and just a few other plugins on the website that you can use to extend those features. Like you might not find a functionality you want inside of the Infinity bundle. It might be like, I think Chris says this a lot about, a lot of Lifter users are like 95% happy with the features that come with the packages out of the box, but then there's that extra 5% once you have students in your website. I would encourage you not to get too into the exact features of the LMS until you have your student base. You've got students taking up your courses, purchasing, you got the 200 to 500 user mark. And that's when it's like, well, we really need some kind of messaging feature because our business is having a problem because our users can't message each other. Then it's like, well, maybe you check out Honors WP and the messaging plugin they have to allow that to happen. Or, maybe you're like, I've been running on my LearnDash application for a while. I've validated, but now I really need the LifterLMS groups feature to sell into organizations. Well, that might be where you'd use the transfer product to move your course over to Lifter, and then you can use Lifter groups to sell those courses. So I really love using the tools to address business challenges rather than just having the tools to have the tools.
That's awesome. Well, we're coming up on time. Will and Kurt usually close this out, so I don't know your method here. If you want to land the plane, Will. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming, and go check out LifterLMS.com. We do have a 20% off coupon code that's live right now. It's just JAN20, JAN20, and that'll save you 20% on a new order.